Welcome to the YouTube channel Bookworm. Today we will listen to a brief retelling of the following book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Planning, calculating, and comparing armies leads to victory. If a state goes to war, it fights for its survival. Every effort must be made to understand the art of war. This knowledge should be used for planning. A general who plans carefully before a battle will defeat one who does not. Before the battle, think and plan everything. You can predict victory or defeat in advance. Compare the opposing armies point by point. 1. Which of the two rulers of the warring states achieves such complete consent and obedience from his people that they will follow him until death? 2. Which of the two generals is the most talented? 3. Which side has the advantage in circumstances, such as weather, terrain, and distances to be covered? 4. Which side enforced discipline more strictly? 5. Which side has the stronger army? 6. Which side has better trained soldiers and officers? 7. Which side is more consistent in the system of rewards and punishments that enforces discipline? Compare the enemy army with your own. Find out the strengths and weaknesses of the enemy. Plan according to circumstances. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you will always be victorious. Protect yourself from defeat and wait for the opportunity to win. A successful strategist participates in battles only if he is sure of his victory. This protects him from defeat. And the unlucky one enters the battle and only then begins to think how he can win. But even the most brilliant commander cannot say exactly when he will win. He must wait until the enemy makes a mistake and give him the opportunity to win. To achieve victory, there are rules. 1. You must know when to fight and when not to. 2. You must know how to deal with stronger and weaker opponents. 3. Your army must have a strong, unified morale and discipline. 4. You must start the battle at the moment when you are ready and the enemy is not. 5. You must have military power and the right to command your troops without interference from the ruler. Be careful, attack when you have an advantage. Avoid your enemy where he is strong and attack where he is weak. Avoid the enemy army when its morale is high, columns and banners are properly placed, or when it has a better position, such as on high ground. Don't fight out of anger. There is always something to fight for. Your anger will disappear, but the ruined state will not be reborn. Avoid the enemy's traps. Do not lead your army into territory where supplies cannot be delivered, or the landscape of which you do not know. Do not associate with unfamiliar allies. Rulers and generals can cause defeat. The army is commanded by a general, and the general by the ruler. With his commands, the ruler can prevent the army from acting smoothly. He may give the command to attack or retreat at the wrong time. Try to run the army as carelessly as the state. Assign officers to inappropriate positions. Mistakes can undermine the trust of soldiers and cause defeat. 7 possible reasons for the defeat due to the fault of the general. 1. In order to attack an enemy army 10 times larger than one's own, forcing one's own army to flee the battlefield. 2. Rudeness of soldiers in relation to officers, violation of subordination. 3. The weakness of the soldiers is disrespect on the part of the officers and a drop in morale. 4. Indiscipline of senior officers, unauthorized attack without orders. 5. The weakness and indecision of the general is a weak, disorganized army. 6. The inability to correctly assess the strength of the enemy. 7. An over-concern for the comfort of one's own men, which hinders military tactics. Save your resources with military stratagems, foraging, and espionage. Food, vehicles, clothing, weapons, and ammunition for the army are expensive. A precursor war can exhaust the resources of any state, making it weak and vulnerable. Aim for quick and decisive victories, not protracted military campaigns. Do not lay siege to fortified cities. It takes months of preparation. The best way to reduce the cost of waging war is to capture enemy lands, cities, or armies intact, rather than destroy them in costly battles. To do this, you need much more power than the enemy. The triumph of a skilled general is to subdue his enemies without a fight, thanks to military tricks. Great fighters are distinguished not just by victory, but by an easy victory. Save state resources by borrowing them from your enemy through local foraging, and multiply your own forces with enemy weapons, armor, and soldiers. This saves the cost of supplying the army. Engage scouts. They get the most important information about the enemy and also give them false secrets. Maintain friendly relations with your spies, generously reward them. Such a cost would be very small compared to the protracted war they could help avoid. If you are building a ploy on a secret that a spy has told you, kill him as well as anyone he told this secret to, so that your ploy does not lose its power. Deceive the enemy and impose your will on him. The art of war is based on deception. Disguise strength with weakness, courage with timidity, and order with disorganization. Confuse your opponent and let him act recklessly. Let your troops feign confusion when in reality they are very disciplined. When you get close to the enemy, pretend that you are far away. When you are able to attack, pretend that you are not. Play with your enemy. If he is quick-tempered, irritate him, behave at ease, disturb him constantly. The enemy has a lot of supplies. Make him starve. He calmly set up camp. Make him leave. If you want the enemy to go on the attack, throw him a bait. If you want to force the enemy to retreat, defeat him. A smart fighter seizes the initiative and imposes his will on the enemy. Attack the enemy in weakly protected places so that he rushes to defend himself. Make him open up so you can discover his vulnerabilities. Numerical weakness depends not only on numbers, but also on the need to be ready to attack on many fronts. Study the terrain and your enemy, then adapt. There are always positions that cannot be taken, roads that should not be taken, and commands from the government that should be ignored. Adapt to the situation, terrain, and enemy disposition. Study the area to take advantage of your natural advantages and avoid interference. To fight, do not climb the heights, go upstream or move away from water and shelters. Avoid sheer cliffs, narrow passages, or bogs. In them, a small army can destroy an entire army. Look for frightened birds or beasts. They point to an ambush. Study the enemy. When soldiers stand leaning on their spears, it means that they suffer from hunger. When the soldiers go to fetch water and first drink themselves, they suffer from thirst. And when they start eating their own livestock, forget to hang pots over their campfires, and act like they won't go back to their tents. Know they're ready to fight to the death. Adapt your tactics to the circumstances and seize every opportunity as it presents itself. Be hard on the troops, keep them in obscurity, and make them fight to the death. Managing and controlling a huge army is no different from managing a small one. You need to divide people into smaller groups, and then control your forces with the help of signals. Gongs, drums, banners, signal fires. They will act as one. The coward will not dare to retreat. The brave will not watch alone. An experienced general leads his army as if he were leading one man by the hand. Treat your soldiers like sons, and they will fight to the death for you. But if you are unable to command them with authority, they will be as useless as spoiled children. You need iron discipline among your soldiers. It is effective if your soldiers are attached to you. Treat them humanely, but keep them under control with discipline and punishment. Keep your soldiers in the dark and change plans frequently to keep them and the enemy guessing. Change camp locations and take long detours instead of short, indirect ones. Only reveal your cards when you are deep in enemy territory. When the situation looks rosy, report it to your soldiers. Deplorable, do not talk about it. The further you penetrate into hostile territory, the more the soldiers will feel cohesive. Put them in a desperate and hopeless situation, and they will lose their sense of fear and fight at the limit of their capabilities to the death. The most important: how to protect yourself from defeat and win. 1. Planning, calculating, and comparing armies leads to victory. 2. Protect yourself from defeat and wait for the opportunity to win. 3. A war can be successful for a country only if the defeat is not the result of the actions of its rulers and generals. How to gain an advantage over the enemy. 1. Conserve your resources with military stratagems, foraging, and espionage. 2. Deceive the enemy and impose your will on him. 3. Learn the terrain and your enemy, then adapt accordingly. How to manage troops? To successfully wage war, be strict with the troops, keep them in obscurity, and make them fight to the death.